Hello fellow humans and welcome to this week's Shop Review. Black Friday is still ongoing, so what is worth buying and what isn't worth buying, that's what we're going to look at today. Now, starting off in the Black Friday section, and there are a couple of new things like these draws, for example, that are so comically bad they deserve a video of its own, but I'm not going to give them that because let's have a look here. Right, the first couple of tiers are still very cheap, you only have to spend a couple of coupons, but once we get to the tiers where you could actually reasonably hope to achieve a vehicle like 14, 15, and 16, you have to pay 200 to 300 coupons each, and the same is true for the Conqueror draw over here. And mind you, the Conqueror isn't that amazing of a vehicle worth spending thousands, and I do literally mean thousands of euros on this vehicle, because have a look at this distribution here. Everything beyond tier 10 does cost over 200 coupons. And we have a look at the gold down here real quick of how much we get. Well, we get 950 coupons right here for 110 euros. So you're probably gonna have to spend 4, 5, even 6, 700 euros worth of gold to even have a chance at obtaining something like the Conqueror. And then if you want to also get the Annihilator, you're easily at 1,000 euros for both. So that isn't really good, so please ignore them at all costs. Just like you should ignore the black boxes, because all they are is math that is stacked against you at any point in your life. And if you don't know that, then I can't help you. But there is also 12,500 free XP right here, where you can double your free XP, but you can only do it once. But if you have 250 gold, highly recommend doing it. Then it's containers, and 10 euros for 3k gold, not too bad. See, the containers ruin any value proposition because you're probably going to end up with 200 free XP. But then again, 3k gold, 10 euros, not that bad. There is better. However, one of those things that is better, though, is not the T28 HTC. Stay away from it. It's not a good vehicle. The bundle is good, but they could also include a tier 7 that's actually good. So stay away from that. And then the rest is pretty much still the same. You've got the gambling boxes and extra resources as well. 6 euros for this, 3k gold, 30 days. This is a great deal. The black boxes aren't worth anything, obviously, but 3k gold, 30 days of premium, 6 euros. That is a very good bundle right here. And then the rest of the Black Friday is simply the same vehicles that were there last week, and it will end soon as well. So think about it quickly if you haven't. I do highly recommend checking out last week's video where I go in detail on each vehicle. That's gonna quickly summarize it here. The VK90 is definitely worth buying. Highly recommend it. The T95 E6 is a good vehicle for good players. This is a piece of trash that you shouldn't buy. The Kennedy 1 and the MX-30 are good. The HWK, the APMX, the TS5, they're not worth it. Neither is the T4 Mod 1. Type 57 is a great vehicle that I can highly recommend picking up, especially if you're a beginner player. This can be your second tier 8, possibly, because your first tier 8 should always be a tech tree vehicle. Centurion Mark 5.1 is also a great vehicle worth picking up. The Skoda's pretty cheap, and it's a good vehicle for good players, and the rest are meme vehicles, essentially. In the regular tank section, there are only 2 vehicles of note, and that is the Badger, which is a very good tier 10 tank destroyer. It is a tank destroyer. It's a better vehicle than the Object 268 version 4 at its role for what it does, because the 268 version 4's armor is questionable, whereas the Badger is extremely well armored, be it very, very slow. The Object 268 version 4 isn't really that fast either compared to what it could be in World Tanks PC. So if it comes down to the choice between 268 version 4 and the Badger, I would tend to pick the Badger, because it is the better tank destroyer. And the Soup Conqueror, it's a great vehicle. It's very easy to play. It has excellent turret armor, 10 degrees of gun depression, 3000 DPM, and it doesn't have HESH, unfortunately, because normally British vehicles do have that, but 85 millimeters of HE penetration, it's enough. And then overall, the mobility powder weight ratio is 40.4, so not the most mobile vehicle, but it is relatively easy to play. And if you already have something like a T125 or a Type 71, this can be a great pickup to go for, to make credits with, even though tier 8s make more credits than tier 10s, and there is even a better reason to pick up this bundle, because these times 5 XPs, 30 of them, they apply to all vehicles. So this is an excellent bundle that I can highly, highly recommend. And then hiding down here, then there is the Battle Hardened for 12,500 gold, the Chrysler K and the SU-130 PM. Buying them together doesn't really make any sense because they are so diametrically opposed in terms of their playstyle that probably the same player won't be enjoying both in many cases. The SU-130 PM is a great tank destroyer for what it is. However, it is complete paper and it is a camping vehicle. And basically, between this vehicle and the Scorpion G, whichever one is cheaper is the one that you should get. Normally, the SU-130 PM is the one that is sold cheaper. 7.5k is a decent price for this vehicle. Could be a bit lower, especially because it is Black Friday, but Chrysler K, 6.5k, which again further ridicules the price of the HWK 30 at 12,000. This vehicle is solid as a performer. However, the problem of this is the turret is at the back. This is a Tier 8 VK90 that doesn't quite have the gun, but overall, it is a vehicle that does its job, that plays its role very well, but you have to be aware that the turret is at the rear, that it is only really for side scraping, that if you're trying to play this like a normal heavy tank, it will not work. So, very niche vehicle that can be worth picking up. In the esports section, we got the VK168, which is terrible, and the M4 Yo, which is quite expensive, but is a solid vehicle as a premium tank to make crits with. So if you have a lot of these tournament tokens lying around, it's not that bad of a deal. And there is a new little event called the Harvest Parade, presumably celebrating the Native Americans' crucial mistake of supplying the European colonizers with any level of food, then that leading to the Native Americans losing their entire land and everything else. But the event overall can get you a T23E3, which is a vehicle that is very weird. It's good for a tier 7, but it obviously isn't worth any money. So if you have to spend money on it, don't do that. But it can be a nice little fun challenge because it has no armor, but it has a very high DPM gun. So it can be a good challenge to play. Overall, play the event, get yourself some pointless containers, and also some very useful times 10 XP boosters. And besides all the terrible coupon draws, there is a terrible gold draw as well for the STRVK. And obviously, if you look at the prices back there, it is quite a lot. You're going to have to pay 20 to 30,000 gold to even have a chance at the STRVK, which is a vehicle that is fairly solid, but obviously not worth anything beyond 20k gold, just like any other tier 10 as well. So I highly recommend staying away from it. But given that the first levels of these draws are pretty cheap, then I do recommend also playing the first couple of levels of the draw, because you might end up with 3 times 10s, which can be somewhat useful. But then don't play any further after the first or the second one, because then you start to lose money massively. And then there's also this excellent pop-up offer in terms of value with the M6, 30 days of premium, 25k free XP, 1.5 million credits. So this is a great bundle right here. The M6 is not that great of a vehicle because you can pen the size of the turret very easily, and it is quite sluggish and has no side armor whatsoever and quite weak DPM. However, it is a decent enough tank, and for €7, with all the goodies around it, this is a bundle that is certainly worth it. Now we go with the Super Conqueror, and on a map where a Sheridan decides to go city, there is no intelligence left among humanity. But nonetheless, this vehicle is a tank that I do highly recommend picking up, because it's just a well-rounded vehicle that can pretty much play any position most of the time. Because you've got the armor, you've got a great gun at 3000 DPM, you don't have HESH rounds, like for example a Chieftain has. You only have 85mm of HE penetration, where the Chieftain Mark 6 has 120. However, you do have excellent armor, much better than that of the Chieftain. Okay, that might be the worst Sheridan player I've ever seen in my life. Now, there's a very good reason I'm going to keep this battle no matter what the result is, because here's the thing about World of Tanks Blitz. The matchmaking quality is amazing, man. Truly amazing. I mean, there is a very clear show of equal matchmaking right here, where both teams are equally able to win the game, and definitely does not result in a 7-0 blowout every time. But let's see what we can do. Now, even at a terrible position like this, the Super Conqueror can still work out just fine. However, problem is, obviously, the enemy Super Conqueror can surround me from here, and the 6th he can go up there and take shots, so it's not really great. What I'm gonna essentially have to hope for is that that Minotauro has any shred of competence, which I hope is probably disappointed, to get rid of that angle here from the Super Conqueror to sort of hold this position somehow. But obviously, Sheridan, he's got the mobility, he can just peek right here, and then that's it. And now, here comes the Super Conqueror. Obviously, just randomly bum rushing straight over the hill, because why would not you think about what you're doing? Okay, I'm gonna die here, so... Anyway, that does not matter, because I have already done 3,000 damage in this vehicle, which is very solid. Now, I might hope this Super Conqueror will bounce. Or it will not. But anyway, in 2 minutes, I've done more than that Sheridan has done in his entire life. So, thanks, great. Team... Yeah.